But let me bring on board Seth R. Freeman, Senior Managing Director at GlassRatner Advisory and Capital Group, LLC. Great having you here, Seth. Let me first start off by understanding how you're seeing the global developments. One is, are you much more comfortable with regard to how geopolitics has played out over the last couple of weeks and the way crude has cooled off? Do you believe that that's sustainable?
Well, I was reading that there's quite a few ships going through the strait this weekend, but on the Oman side, not on the Iran side. So it's very hard to tell, and we know there's these meetings coming up. We haven't had any missile exchanges over the long weekend, so maybe there's a chance here. It's all positive for oil, but it takes quite a long time for the supply chain to catch up. And there's a lot of derivatives from oil and, among other things, fertilizer. I've repeated this a few times. And this is going to really harm farmers probably for this next coming quarter.
Morning, Seth. How do you look at, in that sense, the normalization that will take? Do you expect the normalization to take time, especially going into the end of the year, or are you going to see one more quarter before we normalize to the pre-war flows of, especially for crude and gas, which were the key disruptions during the last one quarter?
I think it depends what countries decide to do in terms of their their oil reserves, because many countries severely tapped their reserves over the last couple months. And they're probably going to want to make up for some of that. At the same time, there's political issues because the governments want to make sure that more reasonable gas prices are available and liquefied natural gas. So it's going to be an interesting thing to observe. But the bottom line is, yes, I think it's going to take through the end of the year for things to get normalized.
So in such an environment, Seth, how is it that you see investor behavior pan out? And whether the risk on for US equity markets and some of the other chip manufacturing nations, would that trend continue?
I think it just depends what the Fed does next meeting. The other part of it is as soon as the SpaceX IPO came out and the other companies are lined up, now there's a lot of concern that these companies are going to underperform, and there could be a real earthquake for economies and the markets if these AI companies end up needing more cash. I know that Samsung is scheduled to announce its earnings on Tuesday. And I understand that their profits are around $55 billion for the quarter, which is about 15 times what it was a year ago. So I think if that is the announcement that we hear, that's going to really drive some positive sentiment.
Interesting. Okay, Seth, great to have you today on the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.